I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have all 5 elected officials in presence, so we have a quorum. At this point, I will set the agenda as published without objection. Seeing none, so we'll set it as published. I'm going to ask Fire Chief Jamie Luffman to come forward and lead us in our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, board members, city administrators. If you would, please pray with me. Eternal God, I pray that you bless us in this meeting tonight and keep us safe. Lord, make your face shine on us and be gracious to us. I pray that we feel your presence during this meeting because you are with us everywhere we go. I pray that this meeting focuses upon you and your plans for us as a body of believers. Let our actions in this meeting be valuable to our aim, which is to build up and edify one another. Loving Father, I thank you for this meeting, and I thank you for every like-minded individual who is here to fulfill tasks for your kingdom. I pray that you bless us as we do not walk in the step of the wicked, but we delight in your law. I pray that we meditate on your law day and night so that we can be blessed in our meetings and have your law evident that we can prosper. Tonight, dear God, I ask special prayer for the Simpkins family and the loss of their child. Dear Lord, he was a loved individual amongst his group, his schoolmates, and he was a wonderful member of the Mount Juliet Fire Department Explorer program. We also pray, dear Lord, for those that we have lost and those that are suffering due to the COVID pandemic. And we as your people call upon your name. And we would ask that you would heal our land so that we can give you the glory. As always, Lord, we raise up the city administrators and the elected officials and the courage that they show in representing the needs of others, fulfilling your work. We also pray a special blessing on the military protectors and the first responders, Lord. Keep them safe, keep their hearts pure. All these things we ask in your son's name. Amen. If you would, stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Next order of business is approval of the minutes from the January 25th meeting. Is there a motion? Is there a second for the minutes? All right, I got a motion and a second. Any changes? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That passes unanimously. Our next item is citizen comments. If you have a comment about anything on the agenda or just anything in general, now is your opportunity. This is generally your one and only opportunity to address the Board of Commissioners. If you have a comment, please come to the podium. Right. Name and address for the record, please.
Mark Lineberry, now Juliet. You're
recognized.
I to speak to you a little bit about the zoning ordinance amendment that's being discussed tonight. I've spoken to most of you individually. I've sent a letter out, so I don't want to rehash what I said. But what I would like to say is, if there's if the real intention of the amendment is to clean up Lebanon Road, this is not the way to do it. This is the Preserve Lebanon Road amendment. But if we want to figure out a way to clean up some of those things, let's have a workshop. Let's discuss some things. Let's brainstorm. We'll have a beer summit. We can figure out some good ways to do it. But I just think this ordinance accomplishes the opposite of what we're trying to do. That's all I want to say.
Well, thank you, sir.
Well, one thing I did want to add to that is, sorry, for as long as the city's been here, the zoning ordinances have not allowed automotive uses on Mount Juliet Road. That CTC, or used to be some other zoning, but it never allowed anything automotive related to go on Mount Juliet Road. So it all concentrated on Lebanon Road. That's where it sprung up, and that's where it is today, and it's still that way. So, that's one possibility of things to think about, is allow it somewhere else. I'm sure, well, obviously, Advance Auto wants to be on Mount Juliet Road. They're going over at Providence now. So, there's other things that would spread out and get off of Lebanon Road if that's truly what we want to do. But there's obviously a demand for it here too, because the people, the residents are supporting the businesses or they wouldn't continue to keep popping up here. So there's a need for it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else have a comment? Now's your opportunity. Name and address for the record, please.
I'm Bill Robinson, 1640 Tate Lane, Mount Juliet.
All right. You're recognized for 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I want to address the ordinance on Lebanon Road. You know, I realize we've been here for nearly 50 years, and we've always had to put everything on Lebanon Road. There wasn't anything where Providence was, and the only place you could put any kind of automotive service or car lots or anything was Lebanon Road. So the zoning forced Lebanon Road to have most of it. Consequently, now we're faced with a lot on Lebanon Road. So when we bought the land we have, it was zoned CG. So the zoning being restricted kind of inhibits our use. Although some of my tenants are kind of all for it because they have a monopoly on Lebanon Road. So they're probably not going to be happy about me speaking tonight. But I think in favor of the property and the dealership, we've got to get a place to get our cars operated on somewhere. And there may be more growth and more need for other businesses. So and we also, and on another note, we have a rezone. If there's any questions on 258 Division Street, I'll be glad to answer those. But thank you for listening to me tonight.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else with comments for the commission? Is there anyone waiting out in the hallway? All right. Seeing none, we're going to close citizen comments and move on to our next item on the agenda, which is commissioner reports. With that, I'll recognize the Vice Mayor, Commissioner Justice.
Thank you, sir. I will tell you, first of all, Mr. Lineberry and Mr. Robinson both I consider not just friends, but very good friends, both of them. And, you know, it's kind of funny. I can get into even heated debate with both of them, and then we can go to lunch or get on the telephone and argue, and, you know, everything's fine. I won't get mad at you because you disagree with me. I will tell you that one of the points that Mr. Lineberry made and Mr. Robinson made were very good points, in that throughout the city, my district being the oldest district in the city, it was the district that was allowed to have the car lots, and it was allowed to have the automotive industry. It was allowed to have car or tire changing places, minute lubes, car washes. And so now we have wound up over a period of years with a less than 1 mile strip, which is a really good portion, a very, very dense commercial portion of my district that contains 23 individual car or automotive industry places. There was one place on a corner of Sunset Drive and Lebanon Road that had a car lot, and we passed an ordinance that said no more car lots. Of course, there's also TCA that says that that's a Tennessee Code Annotated, says that they can have it. Gino, you correct me if I'm wrong, but 30 months. If it's, they can be vacated for 30 months and come back in within that 30-month period, and it's okay to have them. So in other words, what we've accomplished there is to try and get people to keep it a car lot as long as they can, because there's no way they could get another one in. We've had one on Sunset Drive right at the corner that went out, and it is now a barber shop. It's not a car lot anymore, so mission accomplished in at least one spot. The answer, and I would agree with Mr. Lineberry's comments, the answer is that we've got a bigger city now than what we had. That city started out with Lebanon Road and a very small portion of Mount Juliet Road. Now it goes across the interstate over near Central Pike. The answer is to allow some of this industry to be allowed in other areas within the city, so that it's not having to concentrate on Lebanon Road. Now, I've got an ordinance on here tonight. I'm going to ask for a deferral of that ordinance because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And I believe that there's another way to address this, and I'm looking for input. And if I get it from these two gentlemen, I'll be tickled to death to get it. But I think everybody sees what I'm trying to do. We've got two here that are majority landowners, I believe, in that stretch, being Mr. Robinson and Mr. Lineberry, on Lebanon Road. Y'all own substantial amount of property on there. There's a couple of others that own some substantial property. And while you guys have tried to do the responsible thing up to a degree, the others on there have not. And so what I've got is a section of road that, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, looks like Dickerson Road. It looks horrible. And I'm going to do everything in my power to clean it up. If that offends someone, I am so sorry. No, actually, I'm not. I'm going to do it anyway. So I can do it with your help, and I would appreciate your help. And if we can figure out a way of doing that, I would like your input because I respect your opinion. The other two, I'm really not interested in their opinion. They've not reached out to me anyway. So with that, as I said, here later, I'll be asking for a deferral so we can look into this and get some input as to how we can fix this problem. But the problem has got to go away. The people that elected me to represent them are saying they want it to go away.
All right. Thank you, Vice Mayor. We'll move on to District 2. Commissioner Trevette.
Well, I would also like to thank Mr. Lineberry and Mr. Robinson for coming in today. I did get a chance to speak with both of them, and even though it's not in my district, I am also concerned about the way our streets look and how people come and go within the city, and how our businesses are fastly developing. So so I am eager to hear more about these ideas and see what we can do to improve Lebanon and also throughout Mount Juliet. At this time, we're all looking for what's best for the city and to be able to, clean the streets up, also the buildings. So at this time, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the District 3 Commissioner, Commissioner Hefner.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not going to repeat what they said, but I do appreciate both you gentlemen coming out and speaking during citizen comments. And I'm looking forward to a path forward to some resolve on Lebanon Road. So know that I'll be a willing participant in those discussions. On a different note, I want to thank Chief Luffman and City Manager Kenny Martin for helping push WEMA to get the tornado siren up and running. The test happened Saturday, which is the first time Clearview neighborhood has heard that siren since March 3rd. So there are some very nervous folks in that neighborhood. So I did what I could to push out notifications on Clearview Estate neighborhood and as far as and also Triple Crown. So I do appreciate your efforts in getting that siren up and running. It means a lot to me personally and to my neighbors. Also want to thank Captain Chandler and Mr. Barlow. I know I've been hitting you guys pretty hard for some speed studies, so appreciate all your efforts there. I know we've had 5 done, 6 done just within the last couple of weeks, so I appreciate all the efforts there. And then last, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the cow, the wild bull that was running around District 3. Happy to report that the bull is safe. Is that correct? At least that was the last update. Is the bull? It is. Yeah, so it broke out of one farm and then broke into another. So I think that's how it ended. But anyways, nobody was hurt in all of that fun drama that happened over the weekend. So anyways, that concludes my notes. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's probably not the first bull to come from this table, but at least the first update on a bull from this table.
That's ironic, isn't it? A report on bull coming from this table.
Next up, we'll recognize Commissioner Mullally.
I'm actually glad you're pulling your zoning ordinance because in doing a deferral. I look forward to a work session. I think that's a great idea. Sent January newsletter out, jennifermullally.com. You can sign up. You don't have to be in my district, or you can send me your email and I'll sign you up myself. I'm excited to see the construction going on for ML Rose. I drove by and you had that in your report as well, Kenny. So I can't wait to try that out. I had a Zoom call with the Girl Scout troop last Friday night, a group of 8th graders, troop 214. Tiffany Lipscomb and Jenny Smith are the co-leaders there. And I just think that went so well, and I'm so glad that I did it. And so we just had a good conversation. I think it really went well. I'm very pleased. And I would like to thank Commissioner Justice for the kind referral.
You've got some more today, by the way.
I've heard.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. At this point, we'll move on to the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board of Commissioners. Thanks for everybody for coming out tonight, for those watching at home, and for everything you do for our community. I want to start by saying I'd like to thank our elected body and our engineering department. I see Shane and Mr. Barlow and Miss Jennifer and all back there in the back. I've received a lot of positive feedback about the traffic signals and the commission stepping up. I know, and I can think of years past when traffic signals wouldn't have been that popular because you had to stop at them. But with the growth of the city, they're most helpful. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and talk to me out in public as well, saying thank you for those. Really appreciate that. So I've had a lot of good things to say about the elected body in return. And it means more to the citizens than you realize. And I see Captain Chandler back here, and I think he'll tell you it makes ingress and egress a whole lot safer. So, and I actually think it actually helps a little bit with growth and economic development as well, because the businesses feel like sometimes the slowing of traffic, especially on your main thoroughfares, allow those vehicles to get out periodically where you have those breaks in traffic. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's important for you to know that it's much more than just a traffic light. We had a Zoom call this morning. Captain Chandler was a part of that as well. And happy to report that even though it's a somber occasion coming up on March 3rd, is that the Chamber of Commerce has been working with different business leaders, including our elected body, to put together a remembrance, because we don't want to forget. And there's a lot of folks that are still going through that with that coming up. Matter of fact, there's still some folks out there recovering from a business standpoint, and also they still have slabs for homes just simply because they're working with their insurance companies. And I'm sure the elected body, and I know I do, I've talked to countless people about that, and it's unfortunate that, some people are underinsured, or some folks are just having a difficult time with insurance companies fighting them. And that's not to say that they're all bad. There's just sometimes things beyond your control. So we continue to pray for those folks as they go through that and help them where we can as a city to speed that up. I'd like to thank Commissioner Trivett. He and I spoke today via email about a situation going on in one of the subdivisions. He was quick to respond. I've reached out to that homeowner, and she sends her regards and most appreciates that, as you all do periodically. That means a lot to our citizens. But the tornado event, the reason they're going to pick March the 2nd, so for those at home watching or those in the audience in our elected body, they picked March the 2nd is because it's on a Tuesday, and they thought that was the perfect time to do it. They thought about the middle of the day, and they decided upon 5:30 in the evening. And the reason they did that is the days are getting a little bit longer. It'll get 5:45 is probably when the actual ceremony will take place. And it's once the trains have passed, you don't have a lot of the background noise. They felt like the location was perfect because of the clock tower and the beauty of the city downtown. It's our new come together location, like it was for the tree lighting ceremony. And you've got an abundance of parking at the train station. So it'll be held there. Everybody could arrive at about 5:30. The event will probably take place about 5:45, probably last right at 30 minutes. And again, that's March 2nd for anybody listening. I think Captain Chandler's already ordered maybe a medallion of some sort that would be put on a monument at some point in the future once we can get that done. So appreciate everybody that was involved in that. Appreciate our elected body. And we'll also be having a secondary location, which is close to where at Weston Drive, where the truck display is. We'll have a permanent display there as well, because that is where that sort of central point of Mount Juliet where the tornado actually struck. So I know the importance from this elected body and to the citizens that we haven't forgotten. We won't forget that there was 3 precious lives taken in that, and that the commission's pushing hard behind the scenes as well to make sure that we don't forget, just like we haven't forgotten other tragedies in the past. So thank this Board of Commissioners for everything that you do to support staff and the citizens as we move forward in making Mount Juliet even better than what it was yesterday. Mayor, that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, sir. Before we get into the business tonight, I did have one question. Well, I'll make a statement first. We are following the COVID-19 guidelines as far as social distancing up here at the table. Wanted to ask the city recorder if we had any citizen comments entered by email. Okay. And she indicated that we did not. So I just want to make sure we had that covered before we get into the official business of the board. So at that point, we will move into unfinished business. and that is ordinance 9A1, an ordinance to rezone property known as the Greer property being found at 0 Sundersville Road, map 32, parcel 14, from single-family residential RS40 to single-family residential RS30.
Motion. Second.
All right, we have a proper motion and second. It's on the table. Any discussion, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It passes unanimously. We'll move to new business at this point. We got new business ordinance 11A1. Sorry,
I might step outside.
you recusing?
Yeah.
Oh, got you. All right, thank you. Okay, we have ordinance to rezone single-family residential RS40 and multifamily residential RM8 plan unit development and adopt the preliminary master development plan for Wind Tree Pines subdivision being located on Nonneville Road, map 49, parcel 74, 76, 76-1 in the city of Mount Juliet in Wilson County. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, it is, have a motion from Commissioner Mullally and a second from Commissioner Tourette. All right, it is on the floor. All right, any discussion, any comments?
You want to go?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I met with the developer last week, and so, which I always like to do. And I pointed out some things that I had a concern about. I will be voting to move it beyond first reading because I think it's worth further discussion. But my concerns are flooding, Nonneville Road improvements, which I know it's in the plan, and rentals. So those are some problems. Another one that I've got going on in my district is blasting. So that's a concern. But overall, I do like the development. We had talked about adding some lighting at the connection point of Nonneville Road in the entryway, street lighting on Nonneville Road. And then we had talked about some lighting from the entranceway to the first collector lot along that stretch. Also around the three roundabouts that it's not bright lights shining in people's windows, but Andy had a suggestion on what type lighting, so it's kind of subdued, but well lit at the same time. So when you're driving through there at night, you can obviously see where you're going. At those 3 points, well, actually that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and also in the very back at the restroom facility to have that well lit as well. Let's see, what else was it? So those are just some things that I wanted to point out. Curious if the developer would be interested in doing, and the engineer would be interested in doing a Zoom call if there's any nearby residents that might be interested in hearing directly and being involved. Just want to throw that out there. There are other developers, contractors, builders that do that, and I personally really like that. That's all I can think about that we had talked about, but definitely the lighting. Is there any other lighting that I'm forgetting? Is that okay? And that was all.
So you've got rentals, flooding, blasting, lighting, well-lit restrooms, I'm guessing inside and out, and a potential Zoom call?
Yeah, that, and the lighting at the entryway at Nonneville Road, on Nonneville Road, and that first section of entry all the way to the first collector lot there, and then around the 3 roundabouts. Oh, no, it was the dog park. Yes, the dog park and the playground area. Wasn't it? Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that's what it was. I knew there was something else.
Okay.
Sure.
Commissioner Hefner?
So first of all, tons of amenities on this development, which I love. You got frisbee golf, you've got dog walking parks, you've got canoe launches. So I'm very impressed by all the amenities that comes with this development. So good job on getting those included. I do have some concerns, specifically when the Planning Commission, which I sit on, passed this through as a recommendation. I wanted to. There was a recommendation to have 100-foot lots on that Collector Street A. And I noticed that that stayed as 80 feet. So I wanted to get your comments on that.
Is that your list or?
No, I've got some more.
That one, Joe Haddock, Civil Site Design Group, to the 100-foot lots. I misunderstood the conversation at Planning Commission. I've addressed that with staff already. So we could commit to the 100-foot lots, or if we keep the 80s, we would go to with the shared access. So I misunderstood. I thought staff was okay with us doing showing the driveways side by side with the 80s.
Okay.
But yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I do have one more. You may want to stand up there. Staff was recommending on the streets paralleled that have their back-loaded homes with the driveways coming through the back. They recommended parallel parking or space in front of the houses on both sides of the street. I noticed those were left off in the comments. I believe you stated that there was ample parking in the back. So the staff's recommendations, I wanted to get your thoughts, comments on that.
I think we can enhance our response and say, I believe the response at Planning Commission was that we will commit to work with staff at the final master development plan or site plan stage to determine key spots for parking, additional parking for those alley loaded product.
Okay. Could you tell me, as far as the timing on the phases, what's the timeline on phase 1 and 2? Is that you're going to start with phase 1 and 2?
Yeah, I can, actually the developers, sit down in the hallway. I can bring them in here and they can talk.
Yeah, I'd like to understand full total build out and then the subsequent, and the phases and the estimated timeline on that. A couple other comments. I noticed on the 50-foot lot, the 50 over by the in front of the frisbee golf. I noticed those are all alley access for parking. The front of the house, there are no sidewalks. It just kind of, there's grass. So was that an oversight, or are you planning to put a sidewalk in front of that?
We did notice that after Planning Commission. There is a sidewalk shown on the plans, the updated plans you got. It's just hard to see in there.
Okay.
So we did add a sidewalk for lots 196 through 212.
Bear with me. Got it. Do you have connectors from that sidewalk to go to the greenway?
So we connect to the greenway back behind lots 212, 213. We do not go for lots 196 through 210. We do not make a connection directly to the greenway. The sidewalk is behind the supplemental landscaping we put in.
Okay.
I'm really trying to do it to separate people walking just to those residences as opposed to people from the community out walking around. Gives a little bit of separation there.
Okay. And as far as the timing on on the 3-lane road, and I know the turning lanes, I believe, are going to be done initially. Are you also going to include widening that, putting that 3-lane road in?
I believe that at the intersection, at the main project access, those had to be in prior to the first UNO. And then by the 100th CO, the road was to be widened from the main project access to Wintry Trace.
So you're going to do the turning lanes
first,
and then you'll wait to do the 3-lane?
potentially.
Is there any way we can do that at the same time in the beginning? The 3-lane?
Certainly ask. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I have.
The only thing I really wanted to say, which is just kind of just reiterate, just a great job on really thinking about, the new homeowners and especially with the amenities. I'm just kind of getting caught up with everyone on these, so I'm just going to go ahead and just basically just tell you guys great job on keeping this up and good communication, and thank you. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. I would want to ask about the lots. I think it's 194 to 212, the same one with the question about the sidewalks. There's no public street access to those homes, if I'm reading the map correctly. Is that the intention?
Yes. So the private alley. That really we're just, I'm going to say that those lots right there probably be some of the best views you're going to get in the entire development. I'm just trying to maximize the view of the open space without having to double up on public roadway infrastructure.
Yeah, I imagine that will be a nice view there. My only concern is public safety, the private alleyway getting emergency services to the homes. That's my concern. You guys, it's your product to sell, so. But from a public safety standpoint, I need confirmation that we're going to be able to get emergency services to those lots. And I'll just ask that you get with staff between first reading and second reading, and I'll just bring the issue back up on second reading on it. So I know I'm blindsiding you on it, but the other was a time frame for your initial COs. First CO, what's your time frame you're looking at on it? And I'm asking that in the context, of course, the new school or existing school repairs. We got a lot of load on Green Hill, which is part of the zoning here on it. And of course, we're missing 2 other schools because I think from my initial conversations that we expect the timing to coincide when a couple of years from now when we expect to have those schools back open. But I just want to get it on the record.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Danny Hale, M&H Ventures. We would expect construction to begin sometime between this fall and next spring. We would think that sections 1 and 2 would probably be developed simultaneously, meaning that would come online sometime between the fall and spring, fall of 22 and spring of 23. And then market conditions will probably drive the rest of it. But, if we started construction this fall, you're probably looking at 18-month delivery time on the first 2 sections. So probably 2 years from tonight, we would have product coming online.
Yeah. I think that's a similar time frame that's being voiced. So,
right.
And the question was the sewer pumps. I believe you've got one on the bottom. I used to say down by the creek there. Your pump. I think the Planning Commission this question about moving the pump on Nonneville Road.
And we met with staff today. We're going to work that. We're going to have something hopefully worked out before second reading. That'll be off the table, hopefully by that time.
All right, I'm going to put that down, second reading. And you ask about the road widening at the schools. All right, Commissioner Mullally.
Yeah, in addition, initially at planning, it was 110 max alley loaded, which I think is now what, 186?
Yes, it was 110 alley loaded units were approved at planning commission. Now that count was based on some variance requests that we did not receive. So the
Right.
current, if you remove the variance request from the original plan, we're at 160 alley loaded product. The current plan before you is at 167 alley loaded lots. And that accounts for the variances we've received plus comments from staff to add to the functionality of some lots.
Okay. And I used to live on Cedar Creek Drive, which is going to be a connection in the mid 80s. And I've seen that at the very end of the street. I've seen that underwater. But you explained that at the connection point, how it's going to go uphill.
Yes, coming off of Cedar Creek Drive, you're actually going to rise coming into this development.
Okay. And down at the very end, at the bottom of the yellow, where the 25 lots are in the flood area. But will you explain how that, you get around that, how it?
Yeah, basically Jennifer just said it, it's a cut fill balance. So we will fill in those lots, but anything that we fill there, we will remove from somewhere else on the property to offset and make up for the difference in floodplain storage volume.
All right. And another concern was the stormwater runoff to alleviate any problems on the back end. And so we've already had a discussion with Andy and Joe and Rob about putting measurements in place to take care of that on the front end. And that was all I had.
Anyone else? If not, I'm going to ask for staff.
I'm just going to make one more comment. If by second reading I can get an idea on time frame on the full build out, that would be much appreciated.
Our plans, I'm sorry, I misspoke on the first and I thought the question was about the first and second stages. We're looking at probably a 6-year build out on the entire thing. We're hoping 8 years from today, we will have our bonds released from the city and be on our way and they will be good neighbors to you. So probably construction beginning, this winter, that first 2 phases with construction on the roadways ending probably 2 years later with construction on the homes, finishing up in year 6, and then 2 years to top coat. And because we can't really top coat the project until we've got a certain percentage of the homes built in the community. So we'll top coat, and then we'll usually takes about a year to wrap everything up after you put the top coat on and get the city to release. They go out and inspect and make sure everything's done to standards and before they release our bonds. So probably 6 years construction, another year for top coat, and then another year to get bonds released. So probably an 8-year project.
I appreciate that. And I share the mayor's concern about the schools,
Absolutely. Yeah.
especially with the 2 over here that are.
Absolutely. One good
In the
thing about
process of-
single family homes, which is unlike apartments, when you bring an apartment complex in, everybody comes online at the same time. With single family community like this, it'll be over a long period of time and have less of an immediate impact on schools.
Okay.
But we will be contributing, $5,000 a lot now towards schools. So pretty good sum of money to help them out with that. So it's part of our impact fees with the county.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
this is still 8 phases.
Is that right? 8 phases? That's still 8 phases, right?
All right. I'm going to ask for someone from planning.
Hello.
Thank you. It's our planning director, Jennifer Hamlin. Do you, I just want to get you on record as voicing any concerns you may have about this project.
This is actually the best plan that we've seen for this site. Joe reminded me that we've been looking at it for like 10 years now, and it is long overdue for a good plan, and we're excited for the amenities that it's bringing for those future residents and the improvements on Nonnable. And I think it's a good plan, and they've addressed all of our comments.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a representative from Public Works? Director Andy Barlow.
Hello.
Hello. Any concerns you have for this project?
No, I believe everything's been captured in our conditions that we had presented to the Board of Commissioners and thus passed on to this board. I believe from looking at the concerns, probably one of the concerns that we had with the prior plan was access to Nonneville Road. Work with them, obviously, as we go through the plan to make sure it's a appropriate sight distance. That's probably our biggest concern there. We've listed everything else as far as improvements there, potential for a signal there. We don't know. We'll look at the traffic once we get into development. So I know that there is some work to be done on how we identify the sewer. We do have the Nonneville Road pump station there that is very limited on capacity, I think. I won't say very limited, but somewhat limited on capacity. And so I think that discussion remains to be hammered out. We'll be working with their engineer and the developer on that before the second reading. So hopefully we have something that can be proposed to this commission.
All right. And my other question is, have your conditions captured in the ordinance before us?
Yes.
Okay. And same with planning? All right. All right. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Are we ready to vote? All right. All in favor of this project with no amendments? Signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Guys, you have a passage on first reading. There were just a couple things to address between first and second reading, and we look forward to hearing back from you. Our next order of business is item 11A2, an ordinance to annex into the corporate boundaries of the city of Mount Juliet approximately 3.2 acres of property known as the Smiley property and being found at 815 John Wright Road, map 76, parcel 59, and being located within the city's urban growth boundary. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Being on the floor with a proper motion and second in place, any discussion, concerns, comments? All in favor on the item signify by saying aye.
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 Let that show passes unanimous with Vice Mayor Justice voting on the fly.
On the move.
On the fly, yes.
An agile voter.
Looking back. It's gone quiet over there.
I'm trying to say it. What?
Next item is ordinance 11A3, an ordinance to rezone property known as 258 West Division Street, map 721, Group C, Parcel 3, known from single-family residential RS20 to commercial town center CTC.
Motion.
Got a motion? I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye then.
Aye.
Aye.
Let that reflect. It passes unanimously. Next item is 11A4, an ordinance to annex into the corporate boundaries of the city of Mount Juliet approximately 8.64 acres, properly known as Hamilton Denson Park, and being found on Tate Lane, map 73, parcel 18.01, and being located within the city's urban growth boundary. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. It is properly motioned, seconded on the floor. This is our parks land. So any discussion, comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Passes unanimously. Next item is 11A5, an ordinance amending Part B of the Unified Development Code of the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, known as the zoning regulations. Ordinances 2001-29, adopted October 8th, 2001, as amended by modifying Article 6, 102A, permitted and conditional uses and structures allowable within mixed-use commercial districts, commercial general zoning, classification uses, auto body repair, paint shops, auto repair services, car washes, motorcycle dealers, boat utilities, radiator and muffler shops, recreational and utility vehicle sales, services and storage, tire sales, retreading and repair shops, automotive parking and outdoor materials and equipment and sales. Is there a motion?
Actually, Mayor, if I could make a motion to defer this for 30 days.
Let's get it on the table first.
Okay,
Is there a
sorry.
motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right,
Get
got
a
a
second to
motion.
deferral.
Motion.
All right, we got a motion and a second here. All right, it's on the table and you're making a motion to defer.
Correct. Yes, sir.
How long was your deferral?
30 days.
All right, got a motion for a 30-day deferral.
I have a question.
All right.
If this defers, would this stall any pending developments from being presented?
Yes, it should. Based on pending legislation, it would hold off until we can come back
How,
with conditions.
but how could it if there's no vote that's being cast to change anything?
We have gone through this before. It's pending legislation. So that somebody doesn't come in and usurp the actual law.
Let's
I'll
get the
this
city
from-
attorney then to
yeah,
weigh in
I'll get
here.
this from the city attorney.
As Commissioner Justice said, it's pending legislation, so people put on notice so they can't come in now and put something new in while it's pending. Assuming it's passed.
And Jennifer, we've had it in the past where we've had people, we would do something like this and then it would come off the table or there would be something that we would stop it and consider it. And in the past, we've actually had people who could just rush planning to file multiple plans. This stops that from happening. I mean, 30 days if 30 days kills somebody's project, we got a problem anyway.
So anything pending in CG is on hold for 30 days?
No, not anything. I mean, there's plenty of other things can go in there other than the things that were read off at the heading list.
Well, okay, yeah, under this
Yeah.
category.
I get the city attorney's opinion on that as well. That's only impacting the items listed in this ordinance or not.
Correct.
Okay.
Hmm.
Which is a lot.
Doesn't quite seem fair.
Why, have you got something you want to put in my district?
Well, I don't.
Okay, just checking.
No, but I would, I mean, if it's okay, but I agree with Jennifer. If there is projects that are currently, that are being considered and it could hold up a business owner, I think 30 days may be a little bit too long.
Then make it 2 weeks. I don't care.
How could we could we word it to say, instead of just a 30-day deferral, refer it to a work session? Is there a way
Well,
to?
I see you've got two options here. One is you pass the deferral for 30 days, you vote the deferral down and then hear it on the table tonight. You can vote the ordinance down, then it opens the door back up. There's nothing. Am I missing any options?
You aren't.
Okay. I'd like to hear from our planning director who's been waving at me.
Thank you. I just wanted to let you guys know that I have not met with anybody on a pre-application for the March Planning Commission meeting. And we have a Midas that is already in queue for a submittal before Planning Commission heard this item. So they'll be allowed to continue on, but anything other than that, we haven't had any inquiries on as of late. So they wouldn't be able to submit anyways for the next meeting because I haven't had a pre-app, except for the Midas, which submitted the day before Planning Commission. So they beat the pending legislation rule, a Midas. So they would be allowed to continue on, but I don't have anything in queue for 30 days.
Yeah,
Just
Midas would
FYI.
be number 24, by the way.
You had said at Planning Commission 19, did you find some more?
Actually, I was corrected. Yeah,
Oh,
I had
you
people
were
calling me up
corrected?
going, hey, you forgot about this one after they saw the map that I put on there, and I found 3 others, actually.
So did you update your stars?
Huh?
Did you update your map? Your stars?
Location.
Location?
Yeah, had the starred locations.
Yeah.
It is the downside of living in a healthy economy.
And it's also the downside of living in a place where everybody's thrown their crap over the last 50 years. And when I'm trying to fix all that, I would like to get some assistance.
Well,
we're on the deferral right now. So
Yeah.
She wants to keep talking. I'll keep talking.
I just don't think it sounds fair, but can we move the 30 days up? shorter, make it shorter.
Again, she
Jennifer
just said
just
there's no
said-
impact.
There's no,
Yeah, there's no
Jennifer
impact
just
to
said
the
Did you
there's
not
no,
hear what she said?
No, I know, but if somebody wanted to,
She said there's.
She said they can't. They cannot
They
submit
can't
to
do
the planning commission.
planning commission doesn't meet for another 30 days. Well, it'll be 30 days.
Yeah.
So they've already missed.
So it's not stopping anybody.
oh, I see. Oh, I got you. I got what you're saying. Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. Are we ready to vote on deferral? Any other comments? Questions? All right. All in favor of a 30-day deferral signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? I'm gonna be nay. So that defers 4-1. We're deferred 30 days. Guess this will come the first meeting of March, I believe would be right.
Yeah.
All right.
Mayor, if I may, what I would like to, if we could get planning research through some of the other cities around us. I mean, you obviously, you know the district, you've lived over there, so you know what I'm talking about and what we're trying to accomplish. And if you can see what they've done to address some of these issues, it'd be great. And then maybe you and I can sit down some of the others and come up with something that everybody can live with. And I would also, any meeting that we have, I'd like to have Mr. Robinson, Mr. Lineberry at least invited if they've got an opportunity to come and have some input in the meeting. Thank you.
And
Yeah.
and also I just wanted noted, we're not just talking about a mile stretch that you pointed out. We're talking
I'm talking
about
about commercial general.
from city limits to city limits, which is Shiloh, all the way to the city limits
It's-
barber
well,
shop,
any commercial.
which is over 2 miles. So that's what we're talking about. We're not just talking about a mile stretch, right?
Have you identified the commercial general properties past South Green Hill Road?
Do what now?
Have you identified the commercial general properties past South Green
Yeah,
Hill
I got the zoning right here.
Road? Okay.
We're discussing
stretches all
anything
the way.
anything in commercial general.
You're right. Sorry, Mayor.
It's anything. So anyway, next item on the agenda is 11A6, an ordinance of the city of Mount Juliet to amend the Mount Juliet City Code, Chapter 4, Alcohol Beverages, Section 474, prohibited acts by permitted holders, agents, or employees to change the time to sell beer from noon to 12 on Sunday to 10 a.m. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. It is on the floor. Any discussion?
Can I give a little history here? I had a business owner reach out to me in my district who felt that he was losing income because people were going elsewhere to buy beer at 10 a.m. outside the city limits. So I did a poll. I didn't totally understand the alcohol laws at that point, so I started emailing and researching, and thankfully Sheila and Gino and Charles, city attorneys, they really helped educate me on that. So ultimately, here's the bottom line. In the meantime, I did a poll. Of those who took the poll, 71% were in favor. There were 19 against, and 10% it didn't matter. So ultimately, what it means for the public, just so, because I learned this, so I would like to share with you what I learned. Currently, initially in what it was at 2002, Mount Juliet opted out of the Titan law, which said you could sell at 10, but we opted out and set our own at 12 o'clock for beer. And so in 2011, according to Gino, the state got rid of the opt-in, opt-out law, which said that made it to what? The liquor stores and the liquor by the drink and the restaurants could be 10 o'clock. Okay, but it left the beer, anything under 8%, up to the local cities. So, but we still have it at 12. So here's the bottom line. If someone wants to go to one of our liquor stores and buy a 6-pack of Miller Lite that they could have bought at the convenience store, they can do it. If they want to go to the restaurant at 10 a.m. and sit there and drink Miller Lite, ever how many they want, they can do it. So really, if you think about it that way, it's not really fair to the convenience stores to miss out on those sales. That's how I look at it. So I'm going to vote for this for the two reasons. I did the poll, and because of they can go to the liquor store or the restaurants to buy it anyway. And you're sort of penalizing the convenience stores and the grocery stores from
Yep.
selling.
Well, I know where I live, not far from me, we've got a convenience store, and then you got another convenience store in Davidson County, perhaps 200 feet away apart, and one can, and it's just it puts our businesses at a competitive advantage in spots.
And one note too, the liquor, even though liquor stores and liquor by the drink can already sell at 10, it's up to them, their business, what time they open. They set their own operating hours. So even though they may not open until 11, they could open if they wanted to and sell at 10. So that's up to them.
Yes, sir.
So this is for convenience stores and
Grocery stores.
grocery stores. It has nothing to do with restaurants that might want to sell alcohol or.
Well, they
partially
can
sell it.
legally sell. I was making a point.
I
that-
understand, but I'm asking a question. So
I have some hearing difficulty. Can you repeat
my
it?
kids will tell you I do too, so I understand.
Okay.
So my question is, does this affect a restaurant that say, so this would not include restaurants, this would be for convenience
This
stores?
is only beer, anything under 8% at convenience stores and grocery stores.
Liquor stores already, restaurants already can. If you got a liquor by the drink permit, you can already sell at 10 o'clock.
Not in Mount Juliet. I don't know why they're not, but they're not.
They can.
They don't.
They don't. It's very confusing. And I appreciate Sheila and Gino and Charles in helping me understand. It is very confusing.
I think I probably arrived at the same conclusion that they could, they're just not. And I've sat in, you call it early service at church, and you get out, well, back the days we had an early service, but you get out in time to go to Sunday brunch, and you hear all the people that are I assume they're coming in off the interstate trying to order something. And you just hear going from table to table explaining why they can't get it in Mount Juliet. And it's,
I mean, I personally don't want a bunch of drunk people on the streets at the same time that our churches are letting out. So, it's a protection. I spent 25 years putting people in jail for DUI. I'm not thrilled with the idea of producing new ones. So this is a little sensitive to me.
Yeah, I agree with that, but so we're only talking about convenience stores.
And grocery
Selling-
stores.
And grocery stores.
Any alcohol under 8%.
Okay.
Which
And-
is primarily your,
And that's the thing is that, that again, restaurants, if they choose to sell, then they have that option. But, but right now, just like James had mentioned, because it is down the street from me, when it does come to stores from Davidson County to Wilson County, it's just a lost opportunity for them. So, but these folks right here, again, you got folks coming in off the interstate that maybe they work third shift. And again, you don't want to be thinking about just for folks that are just getting up in the morning, they're an alcoholic, whatever. It's just the fact that, again, we got different shifts for different people. And, that's the way I look at it as, and they're still going to go home, take the alcohol home and do what they need to do. Maybe that's their normal day. So
I'd rather them drink it in their living room than have them driving up and down the road.
again, that's why you'd want them to go ahead and purchase it and take it home.
are we ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, that passes unanimously. I believe the next point for this ordinance is to go before the beer board for recommendation, alcoholic beverage board for recommendation.
Since we're just following state law.
It doesn't even go.
I thought we were going to do it as a courtey.
We can.
If we're not,
I think it's a discussion item. They meet tomorrow night, and it's a discussion item.
okay. I thought it was going before that board for at least a recommendation, but all right, next item of business, 11A7, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021 budget, ordinance 2020-25 to appropriate funds in the state street aid fund for street lights.
Motion.
Got a motion
Second,
and a second. All right, it's on the table. Any discussion on this?
if I may.
Yes, sir.
All right. This is in response to some conversation that I've had. People have started walking the new sidewalks that I've got, and along that same stretch where all the automotive people are on Lebanon Road. They're walking up and down it, and we welcome that, obviously. The problem that we've got is it gets dark early, and there are no street lights on Lebanon Road whatsoever. So I've asked the city manager to come up with some numbers for us as to what it would take to produce streetlights and how that would work. And he has done so. I see Mr. Barlow standing up there, so I'm assuming you've got the numbers and all the data.
Certainly. I believe the numbers are a little over 100,000. Is that right, Kenny? I don't
How
have it
much?
on my paper in front of me. So the cost of what we've done here is very comparable to what we've looked at for Golden Bear Gateway is one that we've done. I know that when Mount Juliet Road was widened, we did pay for streetlights there as well. So this is when I say that from Division Street up to Lebanon Road. So those are like a sodium type of light, more of the yellow type of light. So the ones you see on Golden Bear Gateway are the LEDs. So you want to drive Golden Bear, that's exactly what these will be. That's what Middle Tennessee Electric is installing now. Those are what we pay there is a yearly fee. There's a yearly cost associated with that. It comes out of this exact line item that we're looking to add this to. So that's something that we look at on an annual basis. I believe there's a little bit more installation cost with that, but over the course of time, obviously with LEDs, a little bit more expensive on the front end and much more affordable to maintain. That includes Middle Tennessee Electric maintaining all those lights on those poles. So these are on their poles. They would maintain those for us. So, and that includes all electricity for those as well.
I think when we had talked about going from, was it the high school?
That's correct.
From the high school parking area, that location at that light, and going down to the ballpark.
Park Glen.
Sir?
Park Glen.
Park Glen.
Yes.
Well, we were going to wait though,
Fields.
getting down to that section because that's the section that we're working on widening. So
That's
that
yes.
part of it would probably be later on.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is accurate. Yes.
So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We put new sidewalks. It looks great, and they're actually out working on them right now. But at the same time, I want to improve the aesthetics that I can along that section, and I also want to improve the safety and security of the people walking along that section, so that motorists can see, and also there's no riffraff hanging around.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of anything that's going to help public safety. And this certainly would be a big step in that regard. My only question is, we're so close to budget season. Is this something that just couldn't be added into the budget for next year?
If I could explain that, and I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of budget amendments. As
Right.
Probably you've heard me say before.
Mhm.
There's a timing issue involved here, where there's not always a timing issue involved. For them to be able to get these get these things ordered and get them installed, so that actually the summer months when we would actually be using them they would be installed for the summer and fall months, as opposed to waiting and actually have them installed and nobody could use them for another year on into the winter of next year. That's the reason that there's a timing issue that I've asked about. We've been very, very fortunate. We don't have a lot of crime in our city, but when we install sidewalks, and we install sidewalks in the dark, and you got people walking up and down that area, you're inviting that kind of crime. So I mean, the lights are not only an aesthetic issue, but they're also a security.
Was this brought up, when the sidewalks were?
I don't know why it wasn't. I didn't bring it up. The sidewalks were a grant, and you couldn't put the lights down because you couldn't have all of the construction going on at the same time. So they would have to have it put in after the installation of the sidewalks. And the installation of the sidewalks is actually on the south side of the road now.
Yeah.
They just got finished on the north side.
Mhm.
So now the timing is what it is. All the poles that they would be installed and Andy, you correct me again if I'm wrong, but all of them are on the north side.
They are
Of Lebanon Road, because there's not a continuous segment. They would have to install light poles on the south side of the road to get them all in.
So would there be any type of damage to the new concrete or anything that we just put in?
No, my understanding of this is these would all go on the existing poles that they have out there today. So I believe that the way they do the photometrics of that, making sure that it covers the whole roadway, the whole right of way, basically. Middle Tennessee Electric does that. They'll do that design. So it'll cover from one end of the right of way where the poles are at all the way to the other end. So,
Well, I think he was talking about you're talking about the installation.
Correct.
yes.
Yeah, he's talking about when
it'll
they
be on
install them.
existing poles.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of it. It can go on existing poles. We don't have any more obstructions. anything like that. To answer the question on the grants, the grant that we have that's going in right now is very limited grant. It was capped at $1 million. We ended up spending a little bit more of local money than we wanted to on that because of the construction costs. So with that, it was limited. Anything like this, we would have had to done with city money anyway.
Get to light up all those pretty businesses up there.
Another question I have
Exactly.
is, yeah.
I want to make them so much more valuable they can't keep them as crap.
All right.
That's right.
They're paying the taxes
Reoccurring
right now,
costs.
so
Is figured in here.
The
what costs?
reoccurrence costs, just going by previous installations that we've done, the ones that we have here on Mount Juliet Road, which is actually a pretty long stretch. The ones that we've done on Golden Bear, additionally, it's a much longer stretch even than this on Lebanon Road. It's going to be far less than this. I don't think, Kenny, I don't believe we got the recurring annual fee on that. I think this is the installation. Then the recurring fees probably, I'd say $10,000 to $20,000, maybe if that.
Can we get that nailed down by second reading?
Mhm.
And the other question, street aid fund. Do we normally fund our street lights out of street aid fund?
That is correct. Yes, we do.
Okay.
Technically, you might can pull it into streets and the streets budget, but historically, it has always come out of state street aid.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, Board of Commissioners, thank you so much for allowing me just a second here. I can't go into much detail, but I will say that I've talked to Middle Tennessee Electric since then, and there may be a possibility. We've been asking for years to partner with Middle Tennessee Electric about upgrading a lot of our street lights along Mount Juliet Road. And if there was programs out there, grants and things of that nature, if you remember years past, and that's where a lot of this came up through Commissioner Justice with upgrading to LED. We'd probably look long-term at doing that to Mount Juliet Road as well. Especially since this commission, to its credit, upgraded when we widened both phase 1 and phase 2 of Mount Juliet Road to the metal poles. That was a big step so that in the future, for not only are they aesthetically more pleasing, but they're stronger. They stand up to storms a little bit better. Of course, tornado is a different story, and we had some of them down, but they got those back up pretty quickly. There may be an opportunity after second reading, so I'll probably slow walk this just a little bit. And again, I can't go into a lot of detail for a possibility of saving some money. Fixture costs, things of that nature between now and then. So I think it's a good move. We would have went further on the study. This is already approved by TDOT, which is good. The only thing we might have to do on about 12 poles is some easement things that I think Andy's working on. And once he nails down the cost annually for the electricity, I'm hoping to hear some more real soon. I literally just got this phone call late Friday night. And again, I can't say too much because I don't want to do anything to disrupt it, but there's a possibility we could save some money on even this, the 100K or less to have these put in. So what I may do, I'll know more in a few weeks. I'll make that phone call, but I can promise you before we spend any money to move forward. They are ready. They've already got clearance with TDOT to move forward Middle Tennessee Electric, but if I can, I will do that. And more to come, I guess you could say.
Is there any possibility with this eliminating the high pressure sodium?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir. It would be all of those. And that's our hope. And oddly enough, again, we went probably 10 years back to the offices in Murfreesboro from Middle Tennessee Electric and asked them, because if you've dealt with those, they flicker and they do different things. That technology is outdated. The mayor's right. If you can remember when we first opened up Golden Bear, I don't believe the street lights were in place at that time.
That's correct.
And it's made a world of difference over there, especially for those that bike and walk or just traverse that section. So I feel pretty confident that would be this way. But Commissioner Hefner, that's a great question. This came up. The reason I co-sponsored with Commissioner Justice is, one, I support it and believe in it. But for two, he wasn't sure he'd be here tonight. Normally, once a commissioner sponsors, I leave the sponsorship up to the commissioner. But that is a very valid question, and I can promise
Actually,
you.
I'm interrupting you. Kenny and I both were trying to figure out what those obnoxious orange lights were called. So I'm glad you say the word again, because
It's high pressure sodium lights.
high pressure sodium.
I always want to call them orange.
He called them orange
oxide.
lights. So,
HPS or something. I don't know. There's probably a website. I hate HPS or something.
So I do have a question, if it's okay. Just because with Lebanon Road is a lot more narrow, and with going from the high pressure to the LED, that could be compared to other, projects that you guys have done. The roads are a lot wider, so the LED, and of course Lebanon Road being a little bit more narrower, with the LED, just make sure that I really want to make sure that they do a good photometric
Yes,
when it comes to that.
certainly.
Just want to make sure that's noted, because I know we've had some problems in the past where all of a sudden it becomes a runway, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yes.
Commissioner Hefner, did you have a question?
As far as the funds, where the money's getting pulled out of, can those be reimbursed back into the fund? So in other words, can the general fund reimburse if we had a development that came in and
I
we
think so.
earmarked
Yes, sir.
a certain portion?
There's certain things, of course, we can't use the monies for out of state street, but we can definitely reimburse.
Reimburse?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping those savings that are projected on future. Reason it's not going all the way to the county line right now is that there's a certain section along 11 Road where it picks up and it turns into national electric service. And so at some point, as these sidewalks are added, because that's a great question as well from Commissioner Trevette, is if you went all the way to the county line and then they came in and put sidewalks in later, now you're going to have to probably disrupt or relocate some of those poles. So what saved us a lot of this go around is utilizing existing poles. What we hope to do at some point in the future is when Middle Tennessee's doing a pole upgrade, is to partner with them at that point. So like we did with Mount Jute Road, when those poles are already being moved anyway, we could come in afterwards and say, okay, we want to upgrade at the city's expense to those metal poles. So appreciate everybody's consideration.
To Kenny's point on the, excuse me, on the upgrade to the metal poles, we did that as well on Golden Bear Gateway. So we did the upgrade to the metal poles as well as the LED lighting on Golden Bear. So that came probably about, I'd say, a year to a year and a half after we opened Golden Bear Gateway. Made a huge difference.
Right. Any other comments, questions? Are we ready to vote? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. Our next item is appointment of an ethics commission to District 2. I recognize our District 2 commissioner here.
All right. Yes, sir. I made a selection of Bill Mahanahan, 1405 Brighton Circle.
All right.
MCHANAN.
All right, and that requires a vote by the board. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I believe that was unanimous. Yes, unanimous vote on that approval. Next item is some appointments. I've got here one, I believe it's 3 boards. And this is an appointment to the Wilson County Mount Juliet Development Board. Sean Glover, Michael Robinson. I'm asking those be appointed. Parks and Greenways Board, reappointment of Carolyn Christopherson. Britt Limble, Dave Schilling, Adrian Munez, and the Board of Commissioners representative, I'm nominating Commissioner Bill Trevette. Trevette. I probably use multiple.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not offended.
That's more near what he called you yesterday.
Well, I didn't do it in the microphone.
It wasn't in the microphone. You're right.
Yeah. The next is the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, Mark Kozowski and David Rast. I'm nominating to that. Mr. Rast is currently serving on a different board, which is going to expire here in just about a month from now. These appointments do require a vote of the board. So without objection, I just recommend we consider them as a group. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. The next item is the appointments to Regional Planning Commission. Mr. Larry Searcy, Ted Floyd, Luke Winchester, Darian Cunningham, and Diane Weathers. I am recommending and appointing to the board, the Regional Planning Commission. That does not require a vote. We'll move on to the next item, which is Resolution 11C1.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
We got one on here. And I just want to make sure that we're not in a bad spot. Have you talked to our city attorney about the planning commission spot? We got one person who would actually be on both planning commissions, both county and city.
I have not. I didn't see any prohibition in.
I want to make sure there's no conflict in that. Is that okay?
I didn't see any prohibition in the
Okay, I
TCA,
just
so
want
I
to clear
was-
it up, make sure
yeah.
we're good.
We'll
Good.
check and get back. to make
Good
sure.
question. All right. Next is Resolution 11C1, a resolution requesting that the Mount Juliet Fire Chief and Deputy Fire Chief research and provide information to the Board of Commissioners on placement of a private ambulance service in the city of Mount Juliet. Is there a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Sec-
All right, it's on the table. Any discussion on this? Comments? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That passes unanimously. And without objection, we are adjourned.
Object.